So finally, war is here. Bitcoin drops into the 90s, right? Gold is rallying. What's going to happen to the world? So basically, Pablo predicted all of this. For folks who've been watching Pablo, which part did I not predict? Look, I said Bitcoin going to the mid 90s, right? US stocks pulling back because of Trump starting the war on the weekend, right? Bombing, raid, sneak. I said he's going to start with a sneak attack on Iran on the weekend. And he's going to try to get it all finished before the Monday open, before the stocks Monday open. US is such a strange country. US is all about the stock market, all about the pump, the up only, the pump. So that basically United States would even try to carry out war missions using the timetable of the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. Okay, so let's have a look at where Bitcoin is right now. As I've been saying, it's headed to mid-90s. And where are we right now? 98K. Okay, kind of pretty close already. You know, like, here's the thing. So over the last video, I think in the last video I did, I've drawn this parallel line. Just, we didn't need this drop to draw this parallel line. As I've shown you guys in the last video, you could predict this is where it's going to stop, roughly, just by connecting these two dots and then connecting this dot, and it'll point you to this dot, right? That's a parallel line. And the thing is, we could break it, but I think it's going to be more like a wick down to mid-90s, and then we get something like a wick down, and we recover, we get back in here, bounce, and then up we go. So overall, a bull flag. Like, if we look at that, it's a flagpole, bull flag, and up we go. Why am I still bullish, and has the situation changed? Well, if you remember, guys, Pablo has been the one who's been calling this over and over and over again. Okay, what is like just have a look at this. The last few times, right? Last few times we've had this situation. This is June 20th. That was on Thursday, right? Friday. So Pablo was saying Trump is planning the attack on Iran this weekend. Iran. Stocks and Bitcoin will crash if Iran closes off the Hormuz Strait and oil prices spike. Should we buy the panic? And that was what this entire message was about. And the Friday before that, June 13th, Pablo said Bitcoin and crypto will crash on Israel-Iran war news, but who could have predicted this? And, you know, this was me in my Discord on that was June the 3rd, right? Basically saying, warning about a World War III level event, major conflict coming. Iran and Israel have big news coming as well, associated with this major conflict in World War III level event. Right? You can pause and read it. But basically, so like for people who've been watching my videos, for people who are in my Discord, none of this should be a surprise. This is well predicted. This was like coming a long time ago. Okay, so we are at this bottom of this channel here. Can Bitcoin crash down where this 98.7-ish level is bottom of the channel, bottom of the bull flag? And here's the thing. Once again, I'll point to this futures funding rate chart. We're mostly green here, right? Most traders shorting. So therefore, I do think we get a bounce. Because one, everyone's shorting, and two, because we are at this major level here, right? So I think we get some sort of bounce. Everyone goes red again, and then boom, and then we smash through. The thing about this is that Iran, it was Iran closing the Hormuz Strait that sent Bitcoin crashing through 100K. I kept on saying the bombs itself, the bombing of the nuclear facilities in Iran is not enough to that's not the big deal. The big deal is if they close the Hormuz Strait. If they close the Hormuz Strait, then Bitcoin tanks. Been saying that for 2 weeks, and that's exactly what sent Bitcoin in this down leg, 4-5% down, 300K when they closed the Hormuz Strait, right? A lot of people don't understand the basics of geopolitics. But what's going to happen to Ethereum and altcoins now? before we answer that question, first let's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Heman use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show your ID when you join. That means the exchange can't even see you. Of course, then Americans use it. Then the IRS can't see you. The tax office can't see you. The FBI, CIA, nobody can see you, right? So just by depositing, get a 20% bonus. Like deposit $100 get 20 USDT futures bonus. Deposit $1,000, get 200 USDT futures bonus, right? Chance to win a MacBook Pro, iPhone 16, Apple Watch just by trading. And even if you're just like in the top 20, you still get prizes. And I mean top 20 in my competition, not the overall Bitunix competition. Just for folks with this link, because this competition is only the Pablo Heman competition. And it ends, limited time only, on the 11th of July. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on any other platform, such as this one, then that's okay. Just go click on my profile page, and there should be my Stan link or link tree. And Bitunix should be the first deal that pops up because it is a great deal. There we go. So, okay, let's get back to the markets. And remember, folks, only on the Pablo Heman link, only on the Pablo Heman link. Here it is. So let me do Ethereum first before we get to the brass tacks. So here's Ethereum. Ethereum basically is here. And okay, so I've been warning about this situation as well. In my last video, I said, look, guys, I am still looking for, for the last 2 weeks, I said, I'm still looking for this high 2200s. But if Bitcoin goes to mid-90s, now I'm looking for the next support level, which is 2140 area. And are we expecting a bounce? Well, now is basically we are about 5 hours away from the United States Sunday close. We're 5 hours away from the US Sunday close, and look at this. This is what the weekly chart looks like. Ooh. Okay, let me just fix that. Weekly chart. So look at this. We spent 5 weeks, 5 weeks, right? Basically going up and down in this zone and closing every week essentially around 25.30. 25.30. That's the price that the market is green on, and we can swing up and down, up and down, up and down, and then we have this solid line closing below, and then we come to 2140. So since we're here, then I think for us to bottom, then I think we need to have some sort of wick to this 1990 area, high 1900s, some sort of wick like this, and then bottom and bounce. And that's completely okay, guys, because I mean, look at this. You basically have this massive downtrend and then big bounce up, higher high, higher low, higher high, hit 3100. When it comes to here, it'd probably be like 3300, higher low, and higher high, and then off to the races we go. So that can happen to Ethereum, is what I'm thinking. So we're already at the support level of 2140. So I would say this 2000 or 1990, high 1900s area is the next one to watch. Okay, so why is all this happening? As I said to folks, so there's one theory that basically says, okay, the worst is already over because the bombing of the nuclear facilities of Iran has already happened. Once bombs drop, then basically, the worst has happened. You sell on news and buy on fact. Sell on rumor and buy on news. And I said, no, not this time. This time it is different because Iran controls the Hormuz Strait, which is right here. Let's see if I can find a better picture of it. But essentially, like, Iran and Israel are far apart. So therefore, this war, in theory, could go on for a long time. Why could it go on for a long time? Because they don't share a land border. They need to go through, I think this is Syria, and this is Iraq, and this is Lebanon. And Lebanon, Iraq, Syria. Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. It's something like that. And they need to basically march through 3 countries in order to attack, or vice versa. Therefore, and this is Jordan, Saudi Arabia, therefore it's not going to happen. They're not going to, the army's never going to meet face to face, so it's just going to be bombs thrown at each other. And that's the thing. When they throw bombs and missiles at each other, Iran is, you can see here, compared to the blue part, that's Israel, to the red part, that's Iran. Iran's like 70 times bigger in landmass, and it's 10 times bigger in terms of population. So what does that mean? People are like, oh, well, in modern day warfare, who cares, right? Who cares? Well, the thing is, as I've been saying and as I've been predicting, I said in my Discord, that what Israel then wants is a quick blitzkrieg blitz. That's the way it can win, because it's got the better airplanes. Iran's only got the old airplanes from the 70s, including the MiGs from the Russians and the F-14s from the United States. But the way Iran would win is by drawing this out slowly into a war of attrition, because Israel doesn't have enough missiles and bombs to cover all of Iran. Iran can hide in caves. Iran's a very mountainous region, by the way. It can hide in caves, hide in whatever, and then come out when the bombing raid is over. You can't even cover 5% of this territory. However, because this area is so small, right? If we take out this West Bank area, then Iran, if it just sends over like bombs regularly, missiles regularly, and then Iran here will get hit. Right, we can already see that, right? And Israel is so much more developed, so there are some skyscrapers. I'm sure you guys seen in the videos, and it'll get hit and it'll get taken out. So, as I've been saying to folks, that the key here is not that America has dropped bombs and it's all over. The confrontation is over. The key here is actually that. The key here is that basically 1/3, like 30% to 25% of the world's oil and 1/3 of the world's natural gas come through this tiny little area, right? This is Iran, this is Israel, this is Saudi Arabia, that's UAE, or United Arab Emirates, where Dubai is and where Abu Dhabi is. This is Oman, right? The oil needs to come out of there, and I think Qatar is here. So basically, think about that. That's like if you can, Iran knows it can squeeze, right, 1/3 or of the world's natural gas and 1/4 of the world's oil supply. If it squeezes this here, then basically oil prices, natural gas shoots up everywhere around the world. When that happens, then basically U.S. economy crashes. I spent a lot of time talking about this. Here's the map here's the chart that I showed before. I said every time Vietnam War, right, Iraq War, Gulf War, Afghanistan War, Crimean crisis, every time there's war, you buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, right? Every time you buy the dip, except this time it could be different. I'm telling you guys why this is different. This is the chart that I've shown many times already in my old videos and in my Discord. The reason why is because let me show you. Here it is. It's SP 500, and why we cannot buy the dip, because I told you guys there's no dip to buy. Show me where's the dip. That's basically how the market ended on Friday. Basically, you have top and tail. This, like a minimum pullback level, be 584 on the SP 500 ETF or Spider, and then more reasonably, I keep on saying get to 560s. 560s, we wick off here and we keep going for a blow off top. So right now there's actually no dip to buy, because there's hardly any pullback at all. Like even after all this bounce, you think there will be a pullback. So far we haven't even had that. But on the Monday open, I think we're going to get some sort of pullback, probably to at least 584, and then we're looking at chances of some sort of pullback. Therefore, we can buy the pullback. And also, I kept on saying that this time is different, because I kept on comparing the war we have right now, not to these wars, but to the 70s, when there were 5 wars in the Middle East, basically between Israel and everybody else. And that basically, the oil producing nations such as Saudi Arabia were pretty pissed off with the United States, and they hiked they embargoed the export of oil to the US, and oil prices jumped three times in the United States, and interest rates went to 19%. That's right, 19% by the Federal Reserve. It was Paul Volcker, who was the Federal Reserve Chairman, and crashed the US economy. I showed you guys the charts of how US stock market just went sideways. Just basically went sideways for like, what was it, like the entire 1970s. Let's see if we can see it. No, let me find the chart again. So here it is again, the chart of just the Dow Jones. And I mean, imagine if they had the Nasdaq back then, the Nasdaq would crash much more if interest rates went to 19%. This was like a almost 50% crash. So from mid 1960s to about 1980s, for those 15 years, the Dow Jones index of United States went sideways with these 20%, 25%, and then 48% swing downs, right? So it went nowhere. When inflation during this period was going up at like about, what was it, like about 14%, 8% a year. So people were, and your stock portfolio was going down like 30, 40%, like 3 or 4 times for those 15 years. So people lost a lot of money by investing in stocks in that period if they didn't know what they were doing. Okay, and thank you guys for tuning in. I'll have more updates for you during this massive war episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.